Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast with your host, Kristen,
Nicole,
and Hannah. Come join our porch swing conversations.
filled with lots of faith, hope, and heart. Hey Hallmarkies! Today we will be recapping the 2021 Hallmark Channel Countdown to Christmas movie, Next Stop Christmas.
starring Lindsay Fonseca as Angie, Chandler Massey as Ben, Leah Thompson as Evelyn, and Christopher Lloyd as the conductor.
Yes, and a little trivia for y'all. Leah Thompson and Christopher Lloyd were in the classic movie trilogy, Back to the Future.
Yes.
So before we start with our recap, I'm going to read a little synopsis from the Hallmark Channel website. Angie is determined to spend Christmas alone, but her usual commuter ride turns into a Christmas train that drops her off in her hometown in 2011.
Yes.
The suspense.
Uh-huh.
What could be going on here?
Time travel.
Little time travel, yeah.
Magical trains.
Do we want to get into some of the major plot points and storylines in the movie first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the opening scene, we see that Angie is a doctor or a surgeon. We're not really sure what yet. And she is in surgery with a patient with her other fellow nurses or doctors or co-workers. And then we see her finish the surgery and walk out with her friend, who we come to find out her name is Sabrina. And then after her conversation with Sabrina after the surgery, Angie calls her mom, calls her family back home, and we find out that Angie has a nephew named Henrik and a sister named Kristen. Angie's parents are getting a divorce and she's not close with her sister like she used to be. One of the next scenes is Angie and Sabrina, and they're, I guess, at a local restaurant, and, they're talking, girl talk, whatever, about boys and Christmas, and we find out that, or after they see what, or better yet, who is on TV, Tyler Grant, we find out that she dated this young man, Tyler Grant. He is a sports reporter. She turned down his marriage proposal, and she turned it down because she said that they had decided the timing wasn't right, and she was in medical school, and he was breaking into network news, so they just figured, we should go our separate ways.
Yeah.
And then she runs into her old childhood friend, Ben, and his company or firm, which we believe is a law firm, moved him from Boston to Manhattan the summer before, and he is a corporate attorney.
Yep.
In that same scene, we find out that Angie's sister, Kristen, is having trouble adopting. Ben knows this, I guess because of being an attorney and, just being, a longtime friend of Angie and her family. Yeah. And it's something about the biological dad's parents. We're not really sure why, but hopefully we'll find out as the movie goes on.
Yeah, already I'm like, okay, what's going on,
Yeah, me too. Sabrina also shares with Ben that she and Angie, they work together at the hospital, and they work in neurosurgery. So I'm guessing that they're both neurosurgeons with that.
Yeah.
Angie, after the dinner with her friend Sabrina, she's, running late, trying to catch the train to where she'll be going for Christmas. And she gets on the train and she realizes that something is missing on her train ticket. And that is, she needs to find out what that is in order to get back home. Which is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It almost makes you wonder if it's going to be like where she has to like relive the same day over
and
and
over again.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought they were going to do. It's like she has to relive it until she figures out what she needs to change.
Yeah.
But I actually like this better, that she, it's the same timeline. It's not, the same day over and over. But she still is having to figure out what she needs to change.
I agree. Yeah. And I loved in this movie how they didn't make it about, I don't know if this makes sense. They didn't make it about Angie like going back in time to try to, I guess, reconnect with an old love or something. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah,
I think in the beginning she believes it's because of her parents. Would that be correct?
I think that might be the first one. I know she definitely thinks that she needs to say yes to
Tyler's proposal.
Yeah, she thinks that's gonna do it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I like how it's a myriad of things. It's not just one thing. Like, it's the whole package. She has to go back and fix,
like, it's not about her relationship. Like,
right. Yeah.
Love interest is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not about love interest for her. It's about, I guess, just family in general.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I like that about it too, because it's funny because in the beginning of the movie, she says something about it being, the best Christmas. Like, it's such, it's, her memory of it was that it was a really great Christmas. But then she goes back and she starts to kind of notice that it's only a great Christmas for her. Everyone else is having a hard time.
Yeah.
And so, for her to kind of get the focus off of herself and focus on, the things that are going on in her family and being able to kind of, fix it.
Yeah. When she wakes up on the train, and this is, I guess, the first flashback scene in 2011, and she reunites with her dad, and she reunites with Tyler, which we can talk about that scene later. That scene on the train was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
And then she reunites with her mother and her sister and her brother-in-law and her nephew and her dog, Boomer, I believe was the name. We find out that there's a lady, Aunt Mert, which her real name is Myrtle Conway. She's not related to them in any way, but she's just, a family friend. And she holds a Christmas party every year that Angie and her family usually attend. Aunt Mert, she has a granddaughter named Chloe. Ben was raised by his grandparents. Later on in the movie, we find out that, I believe it's Angie's mom, she always invites Ben over to decorate the gingerbread houses.
Yes.
With Angie and, everyone, the family.
Yeah, a nice little tradition.
Yeah. Always love decorating those gingerbread houses. I believe in the scene, one of the scenes after that, we find out that Angie and Ben, they tried dating in the past, but it didn't really work out. That whole scene was hilarious. The dialogue, like, this is why we didn't work.
Yeah, which is interesting because a lot of times, the lead woman or the lead man, they don't realize until the very end that they are in love, with the other person. And normally it's just they have been friends the entire time. But in this instance, they actually, they say that they tried dating, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Tyler, he got a job that would take him from local to national. Oh. That scene with the dinner,
Tell us how you truly feel.
Oh my goodness. That annoyed me.
Yeah.
Just the way he acted.
Yeah.
Like, not putting, the people he loves first. Like, putting his job first.
Yeah.
And we find out Kristen and her husband, Peter, they've been trying to have kids for a long time, but nothing has gone well. I believe it was because of infertility. Is that correct? They were having infertility issues.
Yeah.
Which broke my heart.
I know, me too.
Your conversation, hers and Peter's, that Angie overhears, just
that conversation is a hard one, and it hit home with me, because she said something like, why was it so easy with Henrik and now it's so hard? And I totally understand that. Whenever that moment happened, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go, here come the tears,
Yeah.
and we find out that like the embryos, they were going to do IVF, and the two remaining embryos didn't make it, and so she says it feels like this is the end, that there's nothing else that they can do, and that is a sad moment to get to as a parent who wants multiple children, when you feel like there's no hope, that there's nothing else you can do. Super sad moment. There's a lot of sad moments in this movie.
I agree, but I think they balance it out pretty well with the comedy. We believe that Tyler, he hasn't proposed to Angie because he thinks that she and Ben have a thing or have feelings for one another, and he's a little standoffish, like should I ask her to marry her, or should I ask her to marry me? I don't know.
I don't blame him. I would be getting a little bit jealous too,
The next
scene, history there between those two.
We see Angie. She sets up Ben and Chloe to make Tyler think that she doesn't have feelings for him, so that he'll propose, which clearly, I don't know how well that really turned out.
Poor Ben.
Even though there was a proposal, I don't really know that it was believable, the fake relationship between Ben and Chloe.
No, it definitely was not believable. I felt bad for Ben, because it kind of just shows how much in love he is with Angie, that he's willing to do all this, to make her happy. I wasn't a huge fan of Chloe. She was a little bit too much for me.
Oh goodness. Tyler proposed to Angie when they were having the snowball fight. That was I will admit, the proposal did kind of upset me, of course, because Team Ben.
Totally.
But that was a very clever way to propose, with the box hidden, like the ring box hidden in the snowball. That was very clever.
I wasn't expecting that.
Very creative.
Yes, it was.
Angie's mom and dad, they met at Aunt Mert's first Christmas party, which was really sweet. It was a sweet storyline.
And the fact that she still has the same dress 35 years later, that's amazing.
I love that dress too. That was a really pretty dress.
Oh yeah, so pretty.
The network that Tyler works for asked him to cover or report on the indoor charity soccer game in Barcelona on Christmas, which, again, Tyler thinking of his job first.
Yes.
Before his supposed fiance. Like, really?
I know. And like at Christmas time.
Like when she wants to be with her family, it's Christmas party that she goes to every year. And you're trying to take her away to Barcelona?
He's just not getting the hint.
Nope. We finally, at the end of the movie, we see George and Evelyn, Angie and Kristen's parents. They work things out. So that was also a really sweet scene. That was one of my favorites. Whole movie. Kristen and Peter, they decide not to pursue the IVF anymore, because I believe they just, they were tired of trying, and another heartbreaking moment. But
and IVF is expensive. It's not something that you can just go out and do on a whim. Like, it costs a lot of money, invasive, and it's heartbreaking if it doesn't work out. The chances are slim. So it's like one of those things, like, I don't blame them for not wanting to try anymore.
Angie, she calls off the engagement with Tyler, but on good terms, which is good to know.
I was good. It was good to see that it wasn't like any kind of like huge fight or no ill will toward each other.
He took it like a champ.
He did.
Well, of course I was happy at, his response, but I was also a little surprised too, because he seemed totally convinced that she was the one.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising he didn't give a lot of like pushback on it.
Like, why don't you want to marry me?
Yeah. I guess maybe in his heart he knew maybe that it just wasn't going to
Yeah.
work out. I mean, she is going to med school. Of course, she's going to be, she's
Yeah.
going to be busy with her career too, whereas
Yeah.
he's taking off with his career, and it would be, really hard for them to, plan a wedding and do the things
Yeah.
at that point. It's just bad timing.
Yeah. Bad timing.
Yeah.
One of the last scenes we see is Angie and her family. They're at the lighting of the star on the town Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And she's having a conversation with her sister. And Kristen, I guess, gives her the note from Ben that was in the little Frosty the Snowman box.
Yeah.
And Angie finds out that Ben has always loved her.
Mm-hmm.
And as Ben quoted, or as Ben said about, his feelings and the note, is between me and Frosty, which was the reference for the Frosty the Snowman box.
Yeah, she figures it out.
And Angie realizes that she's always loved Ben.
Aww. Finally, she realizes.
Yes. And the last two scenes are when Angie is going back to the train station, or back to the train,
Mm-hmm.
to get on and, go back home. And she calls Ben and, she tells him what's going on. And, she knows now that he's always loved her and she loves him. And she tells Ben to meet her 10 years later at the Hamilton at 10 p.m. And then we see the beautiful dinner that Ben and Angie have, where he pops the question.
Yes.
And they are engaged.
Woohoo.
We definitely need a sequel. Sequel, please, Hallmark.
Yeah, let's see what happens next.
Do we want to get into our favorite scenes?
Yeah, well, first, what is your review of this movie? What did you think about it?
I loved it. I think it was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I thought it was, quirky and charming, and I really like Lindsay Fonseca. I think she is so funny.
She's great.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen her anything before.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, I thought the storyline was good too, but the only thing I had a little tiny problem with, and that's just because I can get nitpicky, is the ending. It was a little bit confusing, and just the fact that they, when we go, quote unquote, back to the future, and the fact that they're not married yet, that totally blew my mind. He'd been in love with her this whole time, like pretty much their whole lives, and they're not even engaged. They're not married. They're not even engaged, which I know they had to do the engagement for the ending. Like, I get that, but it just kind of, I'm nitpicking. It just kind of was not very believable that they wouldn't already be married.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I still thought it was super funny. The physical comedy and the facial expressions, really great.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 traveling trains. Time traveling trains.
Me too. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, it was very good.
But it was great.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like, where were they for 10 years?
Yeah.
What were they doing for 10 years?
Exactly. I don't see them just dating for 10 years.
But I still love it. It's still a great movie.
Yeah, totally.
We can get into our favorite scenes. Now, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll give a couple. First of all, of course, seeing Christopher Lloyd's character at Grand Central Station, and he's like, I guess that's technically like a ticket master. I'm not really sure. He's at the little ticket booth.
Yeah.
And he, gives her magical golden ticket.
Yeah.
But something that he said that I loved, he says, sometimes what we want is not what we need. Yeah. But they say the magic of Christmas will find you wherever you are.
I wrote that down too. I loved that.
Yeah, I love that line too. And then I really loved when Angie tells Ben that she's from the future.
I loved that.
I love when they tell somebody, because I feel like you know, obviously if time travel were real, that would be something I would do, right? Like you don't just like keep that to yourself. You have to tell somebody.
Yeah,
And so I love
I
that
love it. Yeah.
yeah, she told him, and at first he thought it was a joke, and then he thought it was a metaphor.
And he said, "Are you here to terminate me?"
Yeah.
I wrote
Their
that
ban-
down on funny lines. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, their banter is so good. It's so good. And he's like, "Okay, tell me something from the future." And then she starts going into all these sports things, which those totally went over my head. I'm not very
I
I
know
don't
it was
know.
something about the Patriots and Tom
Yeah.
Brady, and I believe I heard the Packers mentioned too.
Yeah, if someone were to tell me that, I would be like, I have no idea if that means you're from the future. Not, I don't know.
Oh
And
goodness.
she tells him about the gumdrop. She's like,
Yeah.
you're gonna choke on a gumdrop, but I'm gonna save your life. And he's like, I hope so. You're a med student.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really good.
I loved Ben and Angie's reunion, of course, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Of course, the train rides. The train rides were always beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And is it just me, or did you get Polar Express vibes from those train rides?
Totally. Anytime there's a train at Christmas time, it's like it's
Polar
totally.
Express.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I still love the movie. I just haven't watched it in a long time. But
Yeah. Same here.
classic Christmas movie.
Oh yeah.
I believe I remember even seeing it at the IMAX theater in 3D,
wow.
which was really
Yeah.
cool.
That is
I
cool.
guess it was around the time that it came out, which was
Mhm.
awesome. Like the scene when the scene when it's pulling up to one of the houses. I think it's the little boy's house. And it's like the bottom of the train, like, you know, at the front, the very front, it's like coming towards you
Yes.
in
Oh, I
3D.
thought
That
it
was awesome.
fun.
Because it was just like you're leaning back, like, what?
Yeah. What a fun experience.
It was awesome. Yeah. I loved the Christmas tree shopping that Angie and her family did. That was a lot of fun. That was
Yeah.
a cool scene. And
Yeah.
then them running into Aunt Mert's granddaughter, Chloe. And, you know, she's just like, you can just have this tree.
Uh-huh.
I'll go find another one.
Yeah, and the dad, I don't know if you noticed, but he's in the background. He's like, at first he's like, wait a second, don't give her this tree. But then she's like, you guys can have it. And he's like, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, Chloe said something like, I don't know if it's the right tree for Aunt Mert's Christmas party. So
Yeah.
let's go find another one.
She is over the top.
Oh, goodness. It was very short, but I also loved the white elephant gift exchange. That was really cute with the
Yeah.
Frosty the Snowman box.
Yes. Oh.
And then the banter between Chloe and Ben, the fake relationship.
Uh-huh. She was so into that.
Yeah, she's like, he could pop the question any day now. I also loved Angie's conversation with Aunt Mert. I guess it was at a local restaurant or cafe, and how she wanted to recreate the first Christmas party when her parents met.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good
Sweet.
one. Mm-hmm.
Of course, the Christmas party at Aunt Mert's, beautiful
Yeah.
decorations, the house.
Yes.
Evelyn and George's meeting, like when he turns around and he
Yeah.
sees her in the dress.
Yes, I have that one too. I think he's telling Tyler about it. And right as he's telling him, she walks
Like he
in.
turns around and she's like walks
Yes.
in. Yeah.
Oh, it's so perfect.
The timing of that was perfect.
Yeah, it was. I love that too. One I have written
And-
down was when when Angie and her sister are talking and Kristen opens up to her about how they haven't been close. And that's when Angie starts to realize that she hasn't been a very good sister.
I loved that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being
But she
honest with each
promises, she promises to do better.
other. Mm-hmm.
That
I also
was-
loved Ben and Angie's conversation at the Christmas party and him giving her his jacket. I thought that was very
Yes.
sweet.
I have that one too. Yeah, I mean Tyler
So
sees it, he's out
gentlemanly.
here cold, and he just like leaves.
I know. I was about to say that Tyler just like leaves with her standing in the cold.
Yeah.
Like,
And then-
really?
Uh-huh. Ben, being the gentleman that he is, offers his
Gives her
jacket.
his jacket.
Yeah, so sweet.
I love their dialogue too in that scene. He's telling her that, or he's telling Angie that him and Chloe like fake broke up, and she's like, "Oh, I'm fake sorry to hear that."
Yeah. Yeah, because at this point, it's like they don't really need to be together anymore.
No.
So,
Like, what's the point? We could just.
yeah. One of my favorite scenes, of course, was when Angie finally breaks up with Tyler and his cell phone. Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, please. A cell phone going off at like different
The
times.
worst moments. I
Like
know.
her meeting with Aunt Mert, that annoyed me.
Yes.
Like, kept going off when she was talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
And then
really,
at the
Tyler?
party,
At the
whenever-
party too, like, answer
Yeah.
the phone, really?
I know.
Right before the introduction from Aunt Mert.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you said though, I'm glad that they ended it on good terms.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that they ended it too, because it's like, okay, now we're gonna have some Angie and Ben time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And my last favorite scene, or my last two favorite scenes, are Angie finding out that Ben loves her and realizing she loves him, and then the
Yes.
proposal.
Yeah, those are my favorite moments too.
That green dress was really pretty too.
Yeah, it was.
The costumes were beautiful in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like the red dress from the Christmas party, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, of course, the guys' costumes too. You know, like the tuxes and
Yes. Yeah. Did you notice at the Christmas party, she's wearing that it's like a strapless like maroon dress.
yeah, the
And-
high-low dress or something.
Yeah, and Ben is also wearing like the sweater that he has on under his jacket is like the same maroon color.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That was a good observation. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Color coordinating. They did
Yeah.
plan it. Or did they?
Right. Ooh.
Or did they plan that secretly?
Yeah. All right. What about some funny moments? Because there
Yes.
was a lot of funny moments. Pretty much every scene, I think, with
Like almost the entire movie.
yeah, exactly. Angie and Ben specifically.
Yeah. One of the
but-
first scenes, or one of the first lines that made me laugh was at the beginning when Angie and Sabrina are having, drinks at the local restaurant. And this was when they were talking about Tyler. And Sabrina asks Angie a question, I guess, about Tyler. And then Sabrina picks up her phone and Angie says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And Sabrina says, "I'm checking his status. Maybe there's still time for you to find him and plead temporary insanity."
Oh yeah.
And then her introduction to Ben, Sabrina's introduction to Ben, when, Angie's just, standing there talking to Ben all googly-eyed and like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And Sabrina says, "Hi, I'm Sabrina. I'm introducing myself because as soon as you showed up, she forgot I existed."
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then Sabrina throws in that line that she is in neurosurgery or a
Yeah.
neurosurgeon just like Angie.
Yeah.
Impressive. And she's like, "Well, that's why I said it."
Yeah.
Okay, girl, I see
I
you.
love that. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Angie seeing Tyler on the train for the first time. That was hilarious.
That's
Like,
what
I
I
think-
have.
I
Yeah.
think she was asleep or something and he taps her on the shoulder and she's just like, "What are you doing
Yeah.
here?"
Yeah, with his donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I put that I love a good tripping out scene when a
Yeah.
character realizes that they have time traveled.
Yeah.
She definitely had a good little like freak out moment. She like kisses him and she's like trying to make sure it's
I
real.
love that.
Yeah.
He was just like, "I'm going to do it."
Yeah.
And then he does it back, I think.
Yeah. Her facial expressions and her physical comedy in this whole movie was so great.
It was brilliant.
She's a funny actress.
I loved Angie's first conversation with the conductor. And, she's just trying to figure out what's going on. And I guess, she realizes that he looks like the person that gave her the ticket. And she's like, you have a twin. And then he says, must be a handsome fella. And then she says, well, whoever you are, I'm not where I was. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. This isn't the train that I got on. This one is old. I didn't even know these things were running still.
I know, it's only been 10 years. Not that huge of a difference.
I love how, like, her hand motions, she's just like, she spins her finger in the air. She's just like, this one is old. Get me off the train.
Yeah.
And then I also loved in that same scene, I believe it was in the same scene, she realizes that she has a different phone. And she picks it up and she's like, this isn't my phone. And then I guess the conductor says something like, no. And then she's like, but it has a signal. And she's just like trying to get signal in the
Yeah. And later on she shows it to Ben and she's like talking about how, old it is. And he's like, that's the newest model.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, yeah, I guess they would have upgraded.
Yeah.
I love whenever Angie and Tyler take little Henrik to go see Santa.
And I love that scene too.
She ends up sitting on his lap and she realizes it's Ben. And she says it out loud. She's like, oh, that's right. Ben was Santa that year. And he's like, don't blow my cover. You're going to make the kids cry again.
Yeah.
It's like, why were they crying in the first place?
I know.
And I think the best part of the movie for me was when they are decorating the gingerbread men or the gingerbread houses. And Ben starts choking on the gumdrop.
Yes. And then it hits Tyler in the face.
Yes. And he's like, gross.
Yeah, he just like wipes his cheek and he's just like, gross.
And they're all like freaking out. They're like, he's choking. What do we do? And Angie sarcastically says, oh, are you choking?
I know, she like sarcastically, yeah.
Yeah. And she does. She saves his life. I think that's so funny because he knew it was coming. And so really, I mean, the only way for him to prevent it is to just not eat any gumdrops. Why did he even eat one?
Well, I know. Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
I loved the line when Angie first got home and I guess she's walking back in her room and Kristen is right behind her. And Angie says, I thought she changed this to a craft room for her pottery. And Kristen says, since when has Mom been into pottery? Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah.
And, she says a few other things. And then Kristen, as she's, sitting on the bed, she's asking about Tyler, I believe. And Angie says, he's all about sports 24/7. I mean, he's co-hosting the Olympics. And then, Kristen gives her a look like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
And then Angie says, sometime in the future, I imagine.
Yeah. Nice save.
Like, trying to save herself.
Yeah.
Another funny line from another conversation Angie had with the conductor when I guess she's, begging the conductor to help her, figure out how she needs to get back home. And he says something and then she says, well, for one thing, it's 2011 here and there's no way I'm going back to medical school. So if we could just turn this train around, that would be great. And then she's asking if it's, she's asking him if she needs to say yes to Tyler's proposal this time. And, he doesn't say anything. And then she's like, is that it? That's it. Yeah. I loved the line when Angie and Ben are in the cafe or restaurant and he's asking her to show him her driver's license. And then he said, is it a hologram? Are you going to pop up in 3D like Princess Leia and say, help me, Bentley?
Oh
Star
yeah.
Wars reference.
Nice Star Wars reference. Yep.
The last funny line I have written down is from Angie's dinner with Tyler, where she thinks that he's proposing. And Tyler says something about, I want this to be a special night or whatever. And she said, I wonder what it could be. And then the server hands them their champagne glasses, and she's like looking in the champagne glass.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, but seriously, what is it? This is just champagne.
Oh yeah.
I think that's about it for the funny lines I have written down.
Yeah, me too.
You want to get into some trivia?
Yes, even though you kind of we've already mentioned a few of them.
Yeah.
I'll do them anyways. Where did Aunt Mert say that she went on her honeymoon? Was it Africa, Austria, or Australia?
Austria.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. What is the name of the family dog? Buster, Brewster, or Boomer?
Boomer.
Yes. Cute dog. And then what was inside of the snowman jewelry box that Angie gets during the white elephant exchange? Was it a picture of her and Ben, candy jewelry, or a locket?
Candy jewelry?
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding,
Yay. My first question is, where did Angie say she was headed for Christmas? A, Boston, B, Los Angeles, C, Yonkers, or D, Staten Island?
Yonkers.
Yep,
Yeah.
you got it right. What is the name of Angie's hometown? A, Shepherd's Ferry, B, White Deer, C, Crystal Falls, or D, Grandin Falls?
It was Shepherd's Ferry.
Yes.
A. Great choices.
And a little trivia for anyone that is listening. Those were all towns in other Hallmark Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
White Deer was Christmas in Love. Crystal Falls was Christmas Joy. And Grandin Falls was Christmas Town.
Yeah.
Last question is, what is the name of Angie's niece? A, Callie, B, Catherine, C, Emma, or D, Vanessa?
Oh my goodness. I don't know this one at all. Catherine?
Vanessa.
No. Vanessa. Okay.
Yes.
That was a good one. You stumped me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You did a good job there.
Thanks. You did too.
Thanks. All right, Hallmarkies. I think that wraps up our recap of the 2021 Hallmark Channel Countdown to Christmas movie, Next Stop Christmas. We hope you enjoyed and have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. Thank you for listening. Bye.